Oh, you know what? I have three I should play for you. I'll make each one kind of short, because one is this. I guess I'll try this one first. A lot of pieces crossed my path because, like I told you the story of the student that wanted to learn Dallas Rag and Lady Nothing's Toy Puff. I have another. Oh, this is great because the same guy brought me two of the three things I'm going to play now. Saying, Neil, we got to work on this. And I'd look at the music and or listen to it or something, and I'm thinking, Larry, I'm not sure this is a good idea, but I'm willing to help you with it as much as possible. I just don't know what kind of condition we'll be able to put it in, you know. So this is one that he brought to me from a guitar player that I did not really recognize as good as he was. Because the main thing, because he was sort of from the Nashville world where a lot of stuff, where I was not paying a lot of attention to this stuff, and but he's really highly recognized by people I know. Muriel Anderson is a friend of mine, and when I mentioned to her that I was working on this song, she goes, "Oh man," because she plays one of his what's it called, guitar? I can't remember. Anyway. Jerry Reed, though, is who I'm talking about. And because my main memory of Jerry Reed was his novelty radio hit, "When You're Hot, You're Hot." And so, it hadn't crossed my mind that he could be a great guitar player, but he had a cool, funny song.
The Claw.
Yeah, the Claw, that was it. That's what Muriel plays, the Claw. And so my student Larry brought me this tune. He was taking online lessons or classes at Berkeley in Massachusetts, right? And so at one point he mentioned that some of his teachers they had a duet version of them playing this Jerry Reed song, and he said, but they had sheet music. They had like a page to it that was a solo guitar version. So anyway, so I started working on it mostly because once I started playing, I thought this is really cool, and he's worked on it, and he's still got a couple more years on it maybe, but but it's called Bluesland, and anyway, it's just one of those songs that I'd never heard, and because a student wanted to learn it, I thought I'd work on it a little bit, and it was worth it. Yeah.
The little Brian Setzer.
Yeah, it just predates it by 30 years. Yeah. Well, you know, this descending bass thing. Terry Kath is one of the greatest guitar musicians that ever walked this planet. Can I be clear? Do I need to be clearer?
No.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
We played that in the big band.
Yeah. He. Did you see the movie his daughter made, The Terry Kath Experience? Oh, it's worth checking out. You know, she was like 2 when he died, so she didn't know him. Her name is Michelle, I believe. And you know, at one point, she kind of like goes on a mission to find out more about her dad and stuff. And so she interviews, of course, everybody, including some of the Chicago guys who will not get in the same room together, but they'll get in the room with her to talk about Terry. But yeah, that is, and if you haven't seen their show from 1970, it's at YouTube, a performance at Tanglewood, when the band was pretty thin with equipment. It's like, you know, they could have fit on about 3 of these, you know, and as opposed to in their later days. And so just seeing them in their infancy when they had just finished the second album, and which I think is, you know, those
still more bluesy, jazzy than.
Yeah, I mean, and the very first song on the first album, Introduction, bum bum, you know, goes through like 6 different movements, some of which are in very odd time signatures. You know, hearing the horn players talk about stuff that Terry wrote in that song, I mean, it just shows, yeah, so.
They had a tribute show out at our place just about a week ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really unfortunate with that band. I mean, everybody feels like they sold out and had to do these pop songs and stuff, and they had to. The record company was not going to let them do what they did anymore because but they were at least they were there for long enough, you know. I mean, now that they're up to Chicago with 37 or something, it's I'm happy with my first. I've got the first 6 or 7. The 6th and 7th ones were getting a little weaker. By the 8th, it was terrible. You know, became the Peter Cetera drip band or something. You know, but that's what Columbia pretty much made them do. You know, so. I do want to play one of my songs from an album that you can get here. Because, you know, when people, I have to divert with a short story. When people ask me, like, what kind of stuff do I write or what do I play on the guitar? I say, well, you know, I play instrumental versions of songs you know, but then I also play contemporary acoustic, semi-classical ragtime guitar. They look at me like, huh? And I say, well, it's instrumentals, you know, but they're not. Well, I don't know. It's a little hard to describe. And so, actually, many years ago, so the way I would usually make a connection with them is I say, well, you know this song? I guess I got to play a little bit of it since I've gone this far. But. So I can usually, most people can reference classical gas, and I say, so I use that as, and you know, not to pretend that my stuff is on the level of that, but at least it's something that many people have heard and can say, oh, okay, yeah, I have heard that, you know. And so about 10 years ago or so, I sent Mason Williams a letter kind of telling this, basically thanking him for this, you know, for the fact that his song cut through into pop modern culture, and it gives me, it helps give me a reference point when people ask me what I played. And I sent him some of my albums and stuff like that. Got an incredibly gracious letter back from him that was which I never expected or anything, you know. And I even talked to him a couple of times, and it once was like many months later. I called him because I was actually now trying to hit him up to come to a concert with me. He lives in Salem, Eugene, Oregon, and you know, he begged off though. He said, you know, frankly, I'm not really in concert shape, and I don't want to. It's a lot of work, and he's almost 80 years old. He might be 80 by now, you know. But he did say that he loved taking my albums out to his cabin when he's fishing, and he listens to them out there. And I thought, oh, that's so cool, you know, yeah. And then I did a lesson on one of his songs. The Smothers Brothers theme, you know, that he would usually play. So another one I haven't played. Anyway, can't remember right now. But I sent him like a video of me playing it, and I did a guitar lesson on it and stuff like that. And because he would usually play it, he would just, and he would whistle it. You know. So he got back to me on that too, and said, he said, God, that's so great. You know, I always wished I could play it like that. And he said, do you mind if I send this link to the Smothers Brothers? I said, oh, what am I gonna? No way. Never heard from them, but it was really cool to get, you know, compliments from somebody that I look up, another, you know, one of these masters that I just look up to. So so this piece is called Quicksand, and it's probably the most similar to tunes like Classical Gas. Like, I think this is the piece I sort of had in mind when somebody was asking me, you know, and I say, well, I play songs like this, and that they're a little bit like Classical Gas. So this is Quicksand, which again is available for sale. Thanks. So that's what I do, I guess, is, you know, I like to write songs like that and have enough for another bunch of albums, but just haven't gotten around to it.